Hey everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm James Smith.
And I'm Olivia Smith.
Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, this book has been like a cornerstone of personal finance advice for years and years.
It really grabbed me right from the start. Kiyosaki talks about working for his rich dad for just 10 cents an hour as a kid.
Oh, wow.
He felt totally ripped off right until Rich Dad revealed the lesson wasn't about the measly pay at all.
Right, yeah, it was about understanding that the rich don't work for money. They make their money work for them. And Kiyosaki was learning how to build assets instead of just trading time for a paycheck.
And that's a concept that really resonates with Rich Dad, Poor Dad's central message, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The book really stresses the power of financial literacy. It's not just about earning a lot, it's about understanding how money works and using that knowledge to create wealth.
And Kiyosaki uses a great analogy to drive this point home.
Oh, yeah.
He compares building wealth without financial literacy to trying to build the Empire State Building on a 6-inch concrete slab.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
Totally, right?
Absolutely. That's why he emphasizes the importance of having a strong financial foundation.
Yeah.
And one of the key building blocks of that foundation is understanding the difference between assets and liabilities.
And he defines them so simply. An asset puts money in my pocket. A liability takes money out.
Right.
It's so straightforward.
It is.
Yet so many people get this wrong.
Think about a house,
Okay.
often considered like the ultimate symbol of success.
Yeah.
But according to Kiyosaki, it can be a major liability.
Really?
You've got your mortgage, property taxes, insurance maintenance. It's constantly draining your bank account.
So wouldn't a rental property be considered an asset then?
Exactly, because ideally a rental property generates income
Right.
that covers those expenses and puts money back in your pocket.
So it's not about what you own, but how it functions within your financial ecosystem.
Precisely.
Okay.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Kiyosaki challenges us to look at our own possessions. Which ones are truly assets working for us and which are liabilities holding us back?
This reminds me of the story about Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
He famously said, "My business is real estate, not hamburgers." He understood that securing prime locations for his franchises was key to his success.
Yeah.
And this is where Rich Dad, Poor Dad can be applied to your everyday life, right?
Right.
You might have a job and that's great. But are you also building that asset column alongside it?
Yeah,
That's how you build long-term wealth.
it is.
Okay, so let's say I'm convinced. Where do I even begin building this asset column? It feels kind of overwhelming.
Kiyosaki encourages starting small.
Okay.
What's one asset you could acquire? Maybe it's investing in a single stock or exploring a side hustle that could generate some income.
But what about fear? I think a lot of people, myself included, get paralyzed by the fear of losing money. How does Kiyosaki address that?
He tackles this head on with a story about, remember the Alamo? His rich dad used this phrase to teach him that failure is inevitable, but winners learn from it and keep going.
So it's about turning fear into fuel.
Yeah,
That's a tough one to swallow.
it is. But think about it. Are you more afraid of losing money than you are excited about the potential to gain it? That fear can be a major roadblock.
That's a really good point. I
Yeah.
know I've definitely held back from taking financial risks because of that fear. So how do we shift that mindset?
Kiyosaki stresses the importance of working to learn, not just to earn a paycheck.
Okay.
This means developing financial literacy by understanding things like accounting, investing, and spotting market opportunities.
He actually took low-paying jobs just to gain experience in different areas of business.
Wow.
Following his rich dad's advice.
Interesting.
It wasn't about the money, it was about the skills he was developing.
Yeah.
And that's something you can apply today, right? Maybe it's taking on a project at work that stretches your abilities or starting a side hustle that teaches you valuable skills. It's all an investment in your financial future.
Absolutely.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. It's not just about individual tips.
Right.
It's about developing a whole new way of thinking about money.
Exactly. And that's what makes Rich Dad, Poor Dad so impactful.
Yeah.
It's a call to action to become financially literate and build a life where money works for you, not the other way around.
It's definitely a lot to process, but I feel like we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
There's so much more to unpack here.
There is. And in our next part, we'll delve into some even more challenging and thought-provoking concepts from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
We're digging deeper into Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
And this time we're tackling a concept that really challenges conventional thinking, the idea that the rich invent money.
I remember reading that and thinking, is he talking about counterfeiting?
Uh-huh.
Sounded a bit shady.
Not quite. It's about seeing opportunities where others don't.
Okay.
And using financial leverage to create value. It's not about magic. It's about strategy and vision.
Okay, so give me an example. How does someone invent money?
Kiyosaki uses the story of Alexander Graham Bell,
Okay.
the inventor of the telephone.
Right.
Bell offered his patent and company to Western Union for a measly $100,000, and they laughed him out of the room.
Seriously. They dismissed the telephone.
Yeah.
That's a huge miscalculation.
They couldn't grasp the potential of the invention and missed out on what became a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Wow.
They were so focused on the present that they couldn't see the future.
That's a powerful lesson about recognizing opportunities,
Yeah.
even when others doubt you.
Yeah.
But how does that translate to inventing money?
It's about understanding that wealth isn't just sitting around waiting to be found.
Right.
You have to create it. Kiyosaki argues that many people are so risk-averse
Yeah.
that they miss out on the chance to build real wealth.
So it's not just about working hard. It's about working smart and having the guts to take calculated risks.
Exactly. Kiyosaki says, often in the real world, it's not the smart who get ahead, but the bold. He wants us to develop our financial genius.
Financial genius. What does that even mean?
It's about seeing those opportunities that others overlook.
Okay.
Kiyosaki shares stories about buying assets when they were undervalued,
Right.
or finding creative ways to finance deals.
So it's not about following the crowd. It's about thinking outside the box.
He even talks about using debt strategically,
Oh,
which I know goes against everything we're usually told about debt.
wait, how can debt be a good thing? Isn't it something we should avoid at all costs?
Kiyosaki argues that debt can be a powerful tool for leveraging your investments and accelerating your wealth building as long as you use it wisely.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do you know when you're using debt wisely versus digging yourself into a hole?
That's where financial education comes. Kiyosaki stresses that the more you understand about money and investing, the better equipped you'll be to make those decisions.
He's a big advocate for continuously learning, reading books, attending seminars, finding mentors.
Right.
It's all about expanding your financial IQ.
Right. And he breaks down financial IQ into 4 key components.
Like?
Understanding, accounting, mastering, investing, knowing the markets, and being savvy about the legal and tax aspects of money.
That sounds like a lot to juggle. Where do you even begin?
Kiyosaki encourages us to be like surfers.
Surfers.
We need to learn how to ride the waves of the market, adapt to changing conditions, and not be afraid to wipe out sometimes.
So being flexible and willing to learn from mistakes is key.
Absolutely. He also talks about building a team of trusted advisors.
Okay.
Brokers, attorneys, mentors, people who share your values and can offer guidance.
So it sounds like surrounding yourself with the right people is just as important as having the right knowledge.
He cautions against listening to the naysayers.
Okay.
The people who are always predicting doom and gloom, their negativity can be contagious.
So find your cheerleaders, the people who believe in your vision and will support you along the way.
He also recommends finding heroes.
Okay.
Those successful investors you admire, and studying their strategies and mindset.
It's like finding role models who inspire you to reach for bigger goals.
And remember, Kiyosaki emphasizes that it's not all about taking generosity is a key ingredient in building wealth.
Giving back to others. How does that factor into financial success?
He believes generosity creates a positive ripple effect, attracting opportunities and good energy into your life. It's about abundance, not scarcity.
That's a really refreshing perspective. So we've covered a lot about inventing money and building financial intelligence.
Yeah.
But what about the people who are just struggling to get by?
Kiyosaki doesn't shy away from that. He emphasizes that financial literacy is essential for everyone, regardless of income level.
So it's not just about getting rich. It's about empowering yourself to make smart financial decisions in any situation.
He believes financial education should start early, even with kids. He even created the CASHFLOW board game to teach financial concepts in a fun way.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
We've all played Monopoly, but a game that focuses on building assets and understanding cash flow. That's brilliant.
It's about equipping the next generation with the tools they need to navigate the complex world of money.
Okay, so we've talked about taking risks, financial intelligence, even generosity. But what about those roadblocks we all face? Fear, laziness, bad habits. How do we overcome those?
Kiyosaki dedicates a significant part of Rich Dad, Poor Dad to addressing these obstacles. He sees them as the enemies of financial freedom.
He seems to be big on facing your fears head on. He even talks about turning fear into a source of strength. But how do you actually do that?
He uses the analogy of the Alamo,
Okay.
a story of courage and resilience against overwhelming odds.
Right.
It's about finding that inner strength to push through even when things get tough.
So it's not about being fearless. It's about having the courage to act despite your fear.
Exactly. He also stresses the importance of learning from your mistakes. Failure is inevitable, especially in the world of investing. It's how you bounce back that matters.
But what about cynicism? I know a lot of people who just roll their eyes at the idea of getting rich. They think it's all a scam or only for a select few.
Kiyosaki calls cynicism a poverty mindset. He argues that cynicism focuses on the negative, on why something won't work, instead of looking for solutions.
So it's about shifting your perspective instead of why bother. It's how can I make this happen?
He encourages surrounding yourself with positive people who believe in your potential and can offer encouragement.
And what about laziness? Let's be honest, sometimes it's just easier to stay on the couch than to put in the effort.
Kiyosaki is pretty blunt about this one. He believes many people are simply too lazy to achieve financial success. They dream of being rich, but aren't willing to do the work.
Ouch. That's harsh, but probably true for a lot of people. How does he suggest overcoming laziness?
He stresses finding your passion. When you're genuinely excited about something, it doesn't feel like work. It becomes a driving force.
So aligning your financial goals with your purpose can help overcome that inertia.
Exactly. He also emphasizes the importance of developing good financial habits, creating a budget, tracking your spending, setting goals. These are all key to staying on track.
And breaking those bad habits like overspending or procrastinating is equally important. It's about replacing those negative patterns with positive ones.
He also tackles arrogance, which can prevent people from learning and growing arrogant. People often think they know it all and are closed off to new information.
So staying humble and being open to feedback is crucial.
He suggests seeking out mentors who are smarter than you in certain areas and being willing to learn from their experience.
It's about acknowledging that you don't have all the answers and being open to different perspectives.
Kiyosaki believes that by developing financial intelligence and tackling these obstacles head-on, we can break free from the rat race and create a life of financial freedom.
I love that he emphasizes that it's a journey, not a destination. It's about continuous learning, growing, and adapting.
And it's about finding that sweet spot where financial success and personal fulfillment intersect.
That's a powerful message. It's not just about money. It's about creating a life that aligns with your values and passions.
And in our final part, we'll explore this idea of finding your path and how it ties into Kiyosaki's overall philosophy of financial freedom.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
We're wrapping up our exploration of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
You know, we've covered so much ground.
We have.
Assets, liabilities, fear, even investing money.
Yeah.
But what really stuck with me is how Kiyosaki emphasizes that there's more to life than just money.
Right. He talks about finding your path, which goes beyond just having a job or a career.
Yeah, he shares a story about his own poor dad, who was educated and had a good career, but still felt unfulfilled toward the end of his life.
Yeah.
He felt trapped in a job that didn't bring him joy.
It highlights that even financial success can ring hollow
Yeah.
if you haven't found that deeper sense of purpose.
It's like having all the ingredients for a delicious meal, but forgetting to add the seasoning. It's just not quite right.
Exactly.
So how do you find this path? Does Kiyosaki lay out a step-by-step guide?
He admits he doesn't have a magic formula,
Okay.
but he shares his own journey at 26. He had what most people would consider a good job,
Yeah.
but he felt lost and unfulfilled. He knew there had to be more to life than just a paycheck.
So what did he do?
He attended a personal development seminar that really shook things up for him.
Okay.
It wasn't about climbing the corporate ladder. It was about exploring his inner self, his beliefs and values. And this led him down a path of self-discovery eventually to writing and teaching about financial freedom.
It's a good reminder that sometimes the most important lessons come from unexpected places.
Right.
And it's never too late to start exploring what truly matters to you.
Exactly. And Kiyosaki stresses that finding your path isn't just about personal fulfillment. He believes it's deeply connected to financial success as well.
That's interesting. How so?
He argues that people who are passionate about their work tend to be more successful because they're driven by something more than just the desire for money.
They're not just going through the motions.
Right.
They're truly invested in what they're doing.
And when you're passionate about your work, it doesn't feel like a chore. It energizes you.
Right.
And that energy can translate into financial abundance.
But what about people who are stuck in jobs they hate? It's not always realistic to just up and quit to pursue your passion.
Kiyosaki acknowledges that he tells a story about a friend
But,
who made a fortune in a profession he absolutely loathed.
oh, wow.
He was miserable, and it ultimately affected his health and relationships.
It's a cautionary tale. Money without purpose can be a recipe for unhappiness.
Yeah, Kiyosaki wants us to strive for both financial and personal fulfillment. He encourages readers to start asking themselves some tough questions.
Like what?
What am I truly passionate about? What kind of impact do I want to make on the world? What brings me joy?
Those are big questions, but they can lead to some pretty profound insights.
It might involve exploring new hobbies,
Yeah.
taking classes in a subject that fascinates you, or volunteering your time to a cause you believe in. It's about being open to new experiences and paying attention to what lights you up.
It's not about having all the answers right away.
Right.
It's about starting the journey and seeing where it leads.
Kiyosaki emphasizes that finding your path is a journey, not a destination. It's about continuously evolving, learning, and growing.
And it's not a solo mission. He talks about the importance of sharing your knowledge and helping others find their own paths.
He created the CASHFLOW game as a tool for financial education, which has reached millions of people worldwide.
It's a great example of turning your passion into a way to make a positive impact on others.
It all circles back to his core message. Financial freedom is about more than just money.
Yeah.
It's about having the resources and the mindset to live a life aligned with your purpose.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what's the one key takeaway you hope listeners will walk away with?
I hope they realize that financial literacy is within everyone's reach and that it's about more than just getting rich. It's about empowering yourself to make informed decisions and create a life of both financial security and personal fulfillment.
I love that it's not an either proposition. You can achieve both.
Exactly. And it all starts with taking that first step, reading a book, attending a seminar, or even just having a conversation about your financial goals.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a great place to start that journey. It's a book that challenges conventional thinking, encourages you to think differently about money and your relationship with it.
And as always, we encourage you to continue exploring these concepts on your own. What resonates with you? What challenges your existing beliefs? What inspires you to take action?
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We hope you found it insightful and empowering. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.